Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Today's going to be a random video, but a video that I think you guys will like and I like making. It's about gear, probably the thumbnail and the title gave it away, but I'm known for gear. A lot of people think of me, I know because I talk to them in person or at events or whatever. I'm like the gear guy. They come to me for gear recommendations. Is that good or bad? I don't know, but I'm always looking for the best thing to solve whatever problem I have. So I've spent years and years of my life just trying out stuff, and that thing didn't quite work. Let me search and research, and I've talked about it in videos a lot. I love to research as well. So it's always a problem that needs to be solved, and gear is the solver of a lot of those problems. So decided to make a video on kind of my most used / favorite gear that I use every day. Now, this isn't a preparedness video. This isn't an overlanding video. This is just my life. I live here on a little bit of acreage. I built this house. We've been in it for a year, but in that year, I've been doing a lot of other stuff like outside and chicken coops and runs. Still got to build out the rest of this barn. And I've just been checking off stuff. So I've been building. I'm in the building era of my life. So a lot of what we're going to talk about is kind of, I don't know, some tools and whatnot. But I'm also building vehicles. A lot of people on my channel know me for that, so I'm tweaking on things and modding and all kinds of. I got this used golf cart off a marketplace and put it on bigger. So I'm always like wrenching on stuff. So that's kind of who I am. A little bit different than if you live in an apartment and aren't working on things. It might not be as applicable to you, but if you even live in the suburbs or something and you're just working on stuff, then probably you'll find some use out of this video. But also I'm going to touch a little bit on EDC and just kind of the whole spectrum. But this gear is stuff, probably there might not be anything in this. If you've watched like every minute of every video that I've ever made, I don't think there's anything new in this video. There might be. I'm kind of making it up as I go. But it's all stuff that I legitimately use. So if you're like, oh, if you watch my channel, you'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen him use that, or I've seen him talk about that in passing in a video. And then I get emails or comments a lot about this gear, like, oh, what would you recommend for this? Oh, or I saw you use that, or I saw this in the background of a video. Do you recommend that? And so I tried to kind of compile some of this stuff into a video. And also, conveniently, I think, I'm not sure when I'm going to post this video. Today or tomorrow is Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day. There's not a single company paying me to be in this video, nothing like that. I don't even know of what Prime Day deals are going on, but probably some of this stuff you can get on sale. So I'll put links to all of this stuff down below. As always, I really appreciate you taking the extra second to go down there in the video description and click those links, because that is a decent portion of how I make a living, giving you guys free information. So even if you don't want to buy that thing, if you click the link and buy something else, that helps as well. So I appreciate you using those links. So let's just I think we'll just like get into it with the daily, everyday. So that's everyday carry for me. So I wear a hat almost every day. A lot of times they're my hats, but I think these are out of stock. Real quick, what kind of hats would you like to see? What kind of LLOD hats would you like to see? What style? You want trucker, flex fit? You want camo? You want solid color? What color? You want patch? You want a leather patch? You want what kind of hats do you want to see? I'm gonna do a couple more runs. I went out of stock because actually my local Colorado embroiderer either changed he's just like a small operation, either changed his number or went out of, I don't know, I can't get a hold of him. So I need to find a new embroiderer here to make some new hats, but I'm working on that right now. So I'm going to make some new hats. But yeah, I wear a hat every day, and then I wear sunglasses. I get a lot of questions on my sunglasses. Almost always I'm wearing these Magpul Explorers. They come in a couple colors, or this Leupold. This set of Leupold sunglasses, they're both impact rated lenses. They fit my face well, and I think I don't look like too much of a douchebag when I wear them. So I almost always wear sunglasses, protection from the sun, obviously, but I'm doing a lot of things, you know, woodworking or whatever, where I could get impacts. Also, if you're out shooting or something and you get some ricochets, impact protection is important in sunglasses. So I wear sunglasses quite a bit. And then I always carry, we're getting into kind of EDC stuff, a flashlight, love them or hate them. The Olight, this is the Warrior Mini 3, is still the most functional and usable light because I use this feature very often where I want to illuminate something. I got metal buildings, metal cars, metal everything, and then the moonlight mode actually as well. So when it's really, it's so dim, it's so bright out here, when you really just need that 1 watt and you don't want to kill your night vision too much to the moonlight mode. So flashlight I use all the time. I use them more in the winter when the sun sets earlier, but still use them a lot in the summer. Still using, actually just recently got a question if I'm still using the Skeletal. This was actually, Micah gave me this one. Thanks, Micah. They offer it in an all black version right now. So I am still carrying the Skeletal. I carried the Arc for a little while. I tried a couple Gerbers as well, but I came back to the Skeletal. Just how it fits me personally and the tool layout and how easy access everything is. And how small. Still, this is my most used item, period. Still, the Skeletal, I do carry a gun every day. Now a gun is over $100. I forget, I'm pretty sure earlier I said I'm going to try and keep everything under $100. So this is gear under $100. If I go over $100 a little bit, my bad, but I'm going to keep it around $100. So the only reason I mentioned a Glock's more than 100, but my holsters are a little more than 100, LLOD.US every day. And then these shorts, every day I wear, I made a video about them. These shorts, I think I made a video about the shorts as well, but pants, the Vertex Delta Stretch pants. I've tried so many pants. I've tried all the pants, I haven't tried all the pants, obviously, but I've tried a lot of pants from like the Pradas and like these kind of Gucci brands that people are like, you got to try them, to the 511s. And I've tried actually recently, I've got a couple pair of Origin pants I like as well. I've tried all the pants and I always come back to the Vertex Delta Stretch because of the pocket layout, how easy these pockets are to access, both driving and standing and working and sitting. The main pockets are so easy to access, and then the mag pockets, and then just the fit, and usually they have pretty good colors as well. They're still, the Delta shorts or the Delta Stretch 2.1 pants are still favorite pants. Under $100. I got a coupon code. I'll put a bunch of coupon codes down below as well. And yeah, I use these little silicone rings every day. I get them in like the 8-pack or something. They're super cheap. And then Crocs, a lot. Crocs, people make fun of all the time, which I get. I was a person who made fun of Crocs all the time as well. Hated them. They just disgusted me so much, but then I finally caved and bought a pair, and they're great. They're great for camping. They're great for around the house, primarily around the house. You know, I'm walking over to the barn or just doing stuff out in the yard or whatever. If I'm not barefoot, I'm usually in Crocs. Now, having said that, if I leave the house, I try not to wear Crocs outside of that. I'm a big advocate for shoes, for proper footwear. If you need to run, if you need to fight, if there's a fire, if there's a shopping cart going across, if there's a kid about to get hit by a car, you want to be able to run as fast as possible. If you're in a gravel parking lot, there's just so many reasons that shoes are the superior footwear. So anytime I go out in public, in addition to not wanting to look like a loser, I wear shoes functionally. So big advocate of shoes. I wear a lot of trail runners and stuff like that. In the winter, it's boots. But Crocs, if you haven't tried Crocs, if you're a hater of Crocs, just buy some, don't tell anyone, and just wear them around the yard and come back and tell me you hate them. So my challenge to you, not sponsored by Crocs, but I should be. So that's kind of it for the day-to-day stuff. And then I kind of set a bunch of gear out on a table that's kind of like my inside stuff that I use inside. And then I grab some stuff and just put it in this golf cart that I keep in my garage. I keep some tools in my garage, and then I've slowly been transitioning to working on some stuff out here. The plan, if you guys are curious, is to still build out this whole barn so I can have a nice, dedicated shop. I've been too busy to do it, but that's on the very near future. So eventually a lot of my tools will move over from there into there, but then we'll talk about kind of some tools and then some truck gear. But let's go inside. We'll talk about just some inside kind of gear that I have at my desk or in the kitchen or in my bedroom or whatever. All right, so some of the gear that I just keep in the house, and this is just a small subset of gear, but stuff that, not everything I use every day, but this thing I use every day. I've been a huge fan of Nalgene's, obviously, if you've watched my videos through the years, and the OTF lid, still probably my favorite drinking setup, because again, one-handed is what I'm going for. I can grab the bottle, open this up, drink it in a car without spilling. This is the best lid. Surprisingly, with how big of a market water bottles are, most of them suck and you gotta unscrew something and it's a big pain. So these are probably the best. More recent, and I don't care, I kind of just like room temperature. I drink a lot of water. I just kind of like room temperature water. Whether that's weird or not, I don't know. Then recently, well, I don't know, maybe a year ago, someone was like, you gotta try the Awala bottles. So this is an insulated stainless steel, similarly one-hand operation. Now this by default comes with a straw. I'm not really a straw person. My wife says actually this is an anti-pucker straw, which something, with your lip wrinkles, I don't really know. Anyway, I don't use the straw. I just drink it the same as I do out of the OTF, but it's made to either use a straw or just drink out of, and it's insulated, and I don't know how much I play into the whole, you don't want to drink out of plastics and whatnot, but so many people have told me that because I'm such a big Nalgene guy that I was like, I don't know, maybe they're right, maybe they're not. I'm not really sure. I still use both. But anyway, if you're like an anti-plastic person, even though it's BPA free and all, this is a stainless steel option. Or if you do like your bevies cold, this is probably a better option. This is a 32 ounce. These are both actually 32 ounces. And they both won't fit in tiny cup holders. So anyway, and these come in a million, well, I mean, they both come in a million colors. But anyways, I've been happy with that. So those are literally an everyday use item. And I just grabbed some other random stuff that I do use quite a bit here. This is a hat. Actually, I was wearing this hat. It's like a reversible hat, so you can have orange out or like multicam. I don't think it's maybe it's genuine multicam. I don't know. Anyway, multicam type fabric. I forget what brand this is. It's a One Saber. I'll link it down below. I'll link everything that I can. Anyway, I wear kind of wide brim boonie type hats a lot just for sun. I don't like wearing sunscreen, but I do want to protect myself from the sun. Obviously gives you a little shade, keeps you a little cooler. So I wear a lot of these types of hats, and I like camo as well. In pairing with that, I wear a lot of sun shirts. Now the standard sun shirts with the hood, or sometimes I wear these kind of sun shirts. This is kind of a camo as well, with basically the vent mesh back, and then these are like your collared button-up shirts actually, and I like them because you can kind of keep them unbuttoned but protect yourself from the sun. And like Crocs, I was a skeptic of sun shirts for a long time. I was like, it doesn't make any sense. That's wearing a long sleeve shirt when it's hot out, that's dumb. But something about the sun shirts keeps you cool. So I converted not only from a Croc hater to a Croc lover. Now I'm a sun shirt lover as well. So again, just kind of sun protection. I don't like wearing sunscreen. Actually, all this stuff comes out now about how bad sunscreen is for you. Anyway, protect yourself from the sun, keep you cool. Those options in the summer actually are everyday use items. Now we're getting into some stuff that's not really everyday, but I use them quite a bit. Hats, like I talked about earlier. Let me know what kind of hats you'd like to see. I use headlamps a lot more in the winter when it gets dark earlier, but I still do use them in the summer when I'm out doing stuff at night, just because usually what I'm doing at night requires two hands and I don't want to shine a flashlight. So headlamps, this is a BioLite. I like the BioLite ones a lot, except maybe the new ones aren't. These are older. They're stupid, so old, micro USB. So maybe these are on USB-C now finally, but even I remember when I got those, it was like old tech. I really like the headlamps, but I was like, oh, micro USB, what kind of dinosaur? Anyway, but really good headlamps. Ear protection. Now these are the 3M, I think WorkTunes wireless gel cups. So yeah, you could use these shooting range or whatever. I usually use some other ones, some sword-ins, like some really nice sword-ins with the active noise canceling and they amplify voices and whatnot. Those are really nice for the shooting range. You could use these for shooting range, but I use these just for running the tractor or just doing any loud tasks. Ear protection is pretty important because it's whatever it's called, a repetitive stress kind of thing where you lose hearing over time. So I get into the habit of protecting my ears, and I'm doing a lot of stuff that is loud, and then I like to listen to audio books or podcasts or music or whatever while I'm doing it. So this is one of the best ways that I've found to do that. I've talked about them before. Nice scissors. These are Fiskars shears. And there's a lot of times when scissors are just the better tool for the job than the knife. Now this DeWalt guy, this is the Atomic Impact. Now pretty much every company, any of your main power tool companies are making these really small impacts, but I like them because they fit into tighter spaces and they're just really compact. So the DeWalt version, I have 3 of these actually. This is my inside one. I keep inside with the power stack batteries, and then I got this little kind of my common used bit adapters on here, and then that works with just the standard clip. So this has some lights on it, really nice. Use it. I mean, again, kind of building stuff a lot, but this is probably my most used tool of all my tools, to where it was worth it for me just to get like 3 of them because I just keep them everywhere that I'm kind of doing stuff typically. So I keep this one actually in my desk drawer because I'm accessing it so much. Gloves, huge fan of gloves. Now I don't work out with gloves or anything like that, but if I'm doing anything where I'm going to get some kind of splinters, or I'm working with pressure treated wood especially, or if I'm just out like pulling gnarly thorn weeds, then I'll wear gloves. And I keep gloves in all of my vehicles. If I'm doing automotive stuff where I may cut some of my hand up on just like a little rough metal edge, I wear gloves. So I actually have these on a subscription, I think, just because you blow through gloves and you want them eventually. I've talked about this before. This is the Spec Ops tape measure. My favorite tape measure. It's thick, it's sturdy, it feels good. You know, looks kind of cool, but looks are really kind of secondary. For me, I've used them all, the Fat Maxes and everything. And this, I really like this tape measure. Carabiners, not an everyday use item, but they are cheap and I use them all the time for a variety of stuff, mostly tying things down, but just clipping onto whatever. These I buy in like the 4-pack. They're relatively cheap. You know, they are rated to something, but I don't think they're like true climbing carabiners, but they're strong enough for miscellaneous tasks. Now, I have, you know, probably 300 screwdrivers, but this is the one I keep inside because it's nice. It's got the interchangeable bits. It's got the bits in the back here, so kind of a lot of common bits, and it's just nice because it's ratcheting also. Adjustable wrench, got a million wrenches open end, closed end, whatever, but a lot of times it's just one quick little thing that I need. So I have a little small wrench. This is a Klein that I keep inside. Now I do always have a knife, but it's nice to have a really sharp blade that you can just rip through things and not care about. So I have a lot of these little Milwaukee guys. Now I think I got them, you know, on sale at Home Depot or something, but you can get these at Amazon as well. Just replaceable blade, fold up pretty small. You know, they got a little fidget factor as well, but I use them to open boxes, but to cut open bags of mulch or whatever a lot. Those are nice. You guys have seen me probably talk about Sharpies. The twin tip Sharpies are my favorite. Same form factor as a regular Sharpie, but you get the advantage of an extra fine point if you need to like write on a piece of paper. It does bleed through most paper, so keep that in mind. Not quite as good as a pen to use for that kind of stuff. What you guys might know about, or might not know about, is you can get these like metallic Sharpies. Now, these are good for if you need to write on something that is black. So for instance, you need to label something. These will write on black. Now what I do, anytime I have a charger or a power supply that isn't labeled, I will label it so I know this is for whatever vacuum cleaner or whatever. And these are, I found, kind of the best thing for that. Now, funny enough, the thing I do use every day, I've had so many mice, a bunch of gaming mice. I used to game a lot and whatnot. And this is more of a productivity mouse, but this is the Logitech, the 3S, the MX Master 3S. This is my favorite mouse of all time. USB-C rechargeable, has the fast scrolling thumb wheel, has the button here that you put down that I use for expose or like your Windows window manager, forward and back button, and it has the fast scroll. So you probably can't tell, but it has a normal kind of clicking scroll, but then if you give it a good whew, that goes to fast scroll. Under $100, best mouse. If you're at your computer a lot, you won't regret that. And then I just had some knives because I got these in my desk as well. I don't use these every day. Again, it's a skeletal pretty much every day for me, but my favorite knife still probably Lion Steel M4. They have a few colors in this. It's M390 steel, super comfortable handle. It is more than 100. I think it's 140 or 150 bucks, but my favorite knife. Really, it's not a big knife. It's a relatively small knife, but just fits the hand really nice. More of a bushcraft knife, but you know, while we're talking about it, I have several of these. And then actually this is a recent one. Gerber actually sent me this one out to try out. This one is called the Strongarm Camp. Sorry, my focus I think is wanting to focus on the table here. But another nice kind of bushcrafty option that this was just brand new, and I don't know, I don't use it every day, but it just came in, so I thought it was cool. All right, I think that's about it for kind of random everyday inside stuff, so let's take it outside. Okay, so then back out here, I grabbed some stuff that I use all the time. Probably, I mean, I use a lot of tools, a lot of time, and I didn't want to get them all out for you. So I have full big mechanic sets, and I have other wrench sets, and I have other specialty and all this stuff. But this is probably what I use almost the most. I have 2 or maybe actually 3 of these cases of sockets. So this is the 3/8 drive. It's got the angle, it's got the handle, it's got all your metric from 8 to 19, so not all of them, but all your main ones and the deep ones, and then it's got your SAEs as well with extensions. So it's a pretty compact, easy to see, easy to access, everything clicks in place nice, and then I'll almost always, well, I always keep one of these so I can use it with an impact that I showed earlier as well. So these I use all the time. And then what I use with it all the time is also this. I have a Milwaukee M12 version of this. The DeWalt, this one, the XR 20 volt, is way more powerful, like wrist breaking powerful. It's a little bigger than the Milwaukee M12, but when I need more grunt, it works really well. This might be a little over $100 even without the battery, but not too much over 100. This is well below 100. Another thing, even though I showed the impact earlier, that I use just for like low impact, just easy screw, adjusting holsters or whatever, is actually this little Wen. It's like a little generic, super cheap screwdriver. Just a little screw, not a drill or anything, just your standard bits. But they're cheap, and I have a handful of them all over the place, and they're just quick little easy use things. This I should probably put in the truck to go with some of the other gear, but this is a roller cam strap, so it's just your standard strap that you use to loop around stuff, not a ratcheting strap or really a tie down strap, but I use it to tie down little things, fridges and things I don't want moving around. And the roller portion of the roller cam really allows you to exert a little more force when tying something down. So situationally, I'll use these. These are probably my least used of the strap world. I'll show you my most used in a little bit, but I thought they were worth mentioning. I haven't known about them. I don't know how long they've been out, but I only recently, within the last couple of years, have found out about these, and they're really nice for a specific application. I showed it in there, the 16-foot. This is the 25-foot. This is really, again, not sponsored. I don't know anyone at this company. I've bought them all full price, but if you've seen me ever talk about tape measures, these are great. Great tape measure. And then I grabbed these two things out of the car. This is the Fantic Jump Starter. There's a lot of brands that make these, a lot of companies. Some of them are really cheap, some of them are really expensive. You do kind of get what you pay for. So Fantics, I feel like, are coming in at the sweet spot of quality and price point. They are really, really nice. I have never had these go out on me. I've used a bunch of different kinds. So this is a jump starter for your vehicle, and they're just super important. Any overland type rig needs one, so it has a little alligator jump starters, and then you can use it as a flashlight or like a little flasher light, and it comes with the chargers and everything in here as well. But a jump starter, what this does is it can jump start a battery. So if your battery dies, if you leave a light on, your headlights on or whatever, the batteries die a lot more in the winter, so I've used it to just jump start people's cars in parking lots. Every Overland Expo I go to, someone's car dies, and I'm amazed that these Overlanders don't have one of these in their trucks. So I use these every year. I don't think I've been to an Overland Expo where I haven't had to jump start someone's car. No joke. So I actually use these a lot. Not an everyday use item, but I keep them in all the vehicles, and I think they're super important. We'll talk a little bit more about air compressors here in a second, but just because I kind of keep these as a combo in the vehicles. Now, I don't use this as much in the day-to-day. I haven't even opened this one, I guess. This is the X8 Apex, but it's a little battery-powered compressor. Again, this is one I keep in the car. This is actually one I got to put in Ashley's Sequoia. So this is a tire inflator. So I keep these with tire repair kits, which I don't know, I should have a tire repair kit. Again, these aren't like everyday use items, but I was talking about a piece of gear that I like so much, it's kind of comboed with the tire inflator. So there's that. Like I talked about earlier with sunglasses, I like to protect my eyes. If I'm using the angle grinder or anything where there's a possibility that something's gonna shoot out, I want to protect my eyes. So I try to be very diligent about wearing eye protection all the time. Like I talked about earlier with the ear protection, it is important. The ear protection is kind of like an over time, it'll mess you up. Eye protection is you could have one wrong move, one accident, you get your angle grinder a little bent up and you could be blind. So super important. Kind of like ear protection, lung health. So I spray paint a lot of stuff for, when I'm doing a lot of sawdust or Kydex work or whatever, there's a lot of stuff in the air. So take a second, put on one of these, if you got a crazy outbreak or whatever, it's good to have. It's not a gas mask, but it is a particulate filter. These are the P100s I use. Along the tool line, clamps. These kind of clamps, Irwin, I have a bunch of Irwin ones as well. You hold a lot of woodworking stuff I use it for, but I use it for all kinds of miscellaneous items as well. I use these clamps more than any other like clamping type device outside of just like a vise that I have on my bench, but the vise is kind of a more singular use item. These clamps are amazing. Now this one's kind of funny. This one is just a little light, but I put these everywhere. I have a bunch of workbenches, workshop, and then I even put them in the garage. I'll probably use these lights in the barn because they're super cheap and you can mount them easy. And if you just want to use one, there's a little switch on and off, or I added them as a super cheap lighting option in my garage. So I actually just had a little plug that goes into a light socket because I kind of knew I wanted to do this, but I didn't want to pigeonhole myself too much. So I have basically 3 strips of these, and they provide a ton of light. Looks good, good color temperature, and pretty cheap. But I also have them just like under a workbench area so I can work on things here as well. Oh, I recently picked up one of these. I actually saw ads on Instagram for a much more expensive version. But this is like what you'll see at your local Ace Hardware, a thread fitter to where you can find out what size bolts you have. It's kind of nice. And then a blower. I've talked about it a lot. I'm a little more of a DeWalt guy, so I actually have a DeWalt version of this, but I actually like the little Milwaukee M12 version a little more. I went through many adult years of my life, even with the lawn that I mowed and everything, without ever buying a leaf blower. I just never felt like I needed one. Now I have like 4 because I use them all the time just to blow stuff off, blow stuff out of cars, blow stuff out of my truck bed. So I have like a big, actually a Ryobi one is my biggest, most powerful one. And then this is obviously, you can tell it's like a smaller one. So this is like a nice one to keep in a vehicle or something. I have another DeWalt that's about this small that I just kind of keep on the deck to blow off the deck and chairs and whatnot. But blowers, man, I went a long time without ever getting one just because I was like, it's kind of a thing that I don't think I'll get a whole lot of use out of. But then once I got one, I use it all the time. Also, Cooper loves when I just blow air at his face out of these things. It's like the best thing for him. Now, I don't use gas cans every day, but I have a bunch of them. I previously had like 5 of them, and then I just bought more because I want to have 12. I was talking to a buddy of mine. This isn't a brand new concept or anything, but I was talking to a buddy who's more diligent at preparedness than I am. And he says he has 12 of them, and he, labels them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 12. That's the 12 months of the year. And then at the first of the month, you put stable in these, stable, I don't know how it's pronounced, but the fuel stabilizer that, makes fuel last for 2 years. So when you fill them, you put the stable in. These are all full. These are all full. I want to build like a nice little shelf for them, so I just have them a little easier. That's what one day the whole barn will be nice and dialed in, and I'll be able to have a little more organization. But for now, anyway, I bought these. The cheapest price I found for like good reviewed ones are a 4-pack for like $75. Maybe they're on Prime Day sale right now, maybe not. In any case, the idea that I keep getting distracted from telling you is 1 through 12, first of the month, set yourself a little reminder or an alarm for the first of the month. You dump 5 gallons into, your car, your wife's car, if you want to be nice, and then you fill it up. So at any given time, you have 5 gallons, so 60 gallons of fuel on hand for your preparedness type emergencies, or for the lawnmower, or for, whatever you need to use. But this is one item I had been wanting to do that for a long time and just found one excuse or another to not do it. But we're living in interesting times, so it definitely wouldn't hurt to have 60 gallons of fuel on hand. And then the cycling it is just to keep the fuel fresh. It's harder to get rid of 60 gallons of fuel once a year, right? So it's easier just to do it. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do it every 3 months and pour 15 gallons into a car if you have that much room. But as a general rule, to keep it easy, label them 1 through 12. Those correlate to the 12 months of the year. So if it has a 6 on it, that's the one you use in June. So dump that into your car and then just bring it, put it in your trunk or the bed of your truck or whatever, and remember to fill it up with Stable at your next visit. So under $100 for 4 of those will at least get you started. Okay, some random stuff on the bed of the truck. I know I talked about the air compressor earlier, and Fantic does make a bigger one, but I don't want you guys to be like, oh man, what is this Fantic hour? So anyways, I have a DeWalt one as well. The nice thing about these compressors, and some of the new like Overland type compressors are moving this way as well, is you can turn it on and then you can set the PSI. So you set that to whatever PSI you want and it will start inflating, and once it gets to that PSI, it'll stop. So after I go out on a trip, if I'm not super, I just want to get home. So I just kind of air up my tires to good enough. And then when I get home, I'll kind of get them all dialed in perfectly. By default, it comes with a little screw and adapter. I screwed in one of these little clamp-on adapters to it. This will also have your tire or your like mattress inflator or ball inflators built in as well. So you can inflate and deflate mattress type things with this, and it's just nice. It has a cigarette lighter thing, so you can plug it into a cigarette lighter and use it that way, or use it with any of your standard 20 or your FlexVolt 60 volt DeWalt batteries. So air compressor, I legitimately use that all the time, whether it's filling balls or bike tires or whatever. It does have a little flashlight on here as well. So yeah, compressor, use it all the time. Paracord I use all the time as well. I talk a lot about paracord on the channel for camping and survival or whatever. I just buy 1,000-foot spool. So I have a couple 1,000-foot spools, and then I don't really have to worry about, like, oh, well, I got to make this 100-foot spool work. I just kind of cut off what I need, and it's not that expensive. It's under $100 for 1,000 feet. Talked about gloves earlier already. I think I mentioned I love mechanics. I use mechanics all the time. These are the leather mechanics, but also these cheapy gloves are a little more heavy duty, and you just get these, you can get them on Amazon. I'm sure I've bought some on Amazon, but your local, anywhere sells these. Home Depot, Ace Hardware, Tractor Supply. Front runner chairs, probably still my favorite, just in terms of how fast they set up, how compact they get, and how comfortable they are. I believe, I'm not actually sure about the price. I believe these are under $100, but I use these around the yard, and I use them camping or use them at events or whatever all the time. I don't know I had a Jetboil out. I do use a Jetboil. Like, I love Jetboils, but it's not really a everyday use item. So I don't know. I don't know why that's on the table. This I do use all the time. Now, if you've watched my videos, you've seen me talk about these. I think I have a coupon code actually, because the company actually saw me using their products, and I was so stoked on their products. I didn't know anything about them. I remember I actually saw these in a parking lot. Someone else was using them. And what this is a ratchet strap, self-contained ratchet strap. And I saw someone using it. I was like, man, that looks so nice. And he was all about them, and he was like so stoked to tell me about them. I don't remember your name, but if you happen to be watching my video, thanks for the recommendation. Anyway, I bought some, and I've been using them ever since. One of the guys that works there saw that I was using them, and he sent me a care package, and he's like, oh man, like, we'd love to work with you. And I was like, I don't know how it would really work together, but he made an affiliate account for me. So I do have an affiliate, and I think a coupon code for these. So I'll link that down below. But these are, the only limiting thing is they're only 6 feet. Because naturally you can't get too much on the spool. So when I need to go longer, I'll put a couple together, or I'll just use a regular ratchet strap, But these are so fast and so easy. I keep several of them clipped to the bed here. Actually, let me turn my Diamondback light on, shed a little light. Ooh, here we go. This is under $100, I think, probably. The Diamondback light, if you have a Diamondback, a little battery-powered light that you stick under there, and all of a sudden you got light. Anyway, I keep these in pretty much all of my rigs, but they're so easy to use and so fast. If you're ratcheting stuff, you know, I'm buying crap all the time and strapping it down. So you can strap it to the top of the Diamondback, in your bed, in the back of your SUV, whatever. Awesome, awesome product. Actually, while we're on that, the other thing I use all the time are these. These are Perfect. They're called the Perfect Bungee, Beeler Flex, I think. Now, these are kind of, they have this, not a ratcheting, but you can tweak on it. So you pull on this and it stretches out, so it compresses, or, you know, it stretches. So you get the stretch of the bungee mixed with a tie-down strap. So not like a super heavy-duty tie-down. Like if I had heavy stuff, I wouldn't use this product. But for lighter stuff, especially when I'm like strapping bags to the roof of a roof, like lighter items I'm strapping down, or I want to strap stuff down inside of the cab or whatever, these are kind of a go-to as well, because I believe the length is like 16 feet or something, and they're just so easy and so fast to use. One side is captured and the other side is just a hook. Anyway, another great product for tying stuff down. Now this is, I've actually had a handful of questions through the years about, well, chargers. I have too many vehicles. Yes, I know. And sometimes people will see these little guys sticking out of my vehicles, whether it's like sticking out like here or on the hood or whatever. So I have these. This is called the X Connect, the NOCO X Connect. No affiliation with NOCO either. I just kind of went down that path, and now I kind of have several of these. This is the 5 amp. They have a 10 amp. I have a 10 amp somewhere. I don't know. And then I have a couple of the X1s. So these are the NOCO Genius products, and they charge everything, every kind of 12 volt and 6 volt battery. Shows you a little indicator, shows you any error codes. And the nice thing about these is they can also they can charge your standalone Life PO4 batteries as well. So if you've been watching some of my ham radio nerd content or whatever, I have some of these Life PO4 batteries, and usually people will buy dedicated chargers for those. You can use these to charge those as well. So I use them to kind of maintain all of the vehicles that I don't drive. I have like the GTR plugged into just a X1 all the time. So it's basically a battery tender, but also a battery charger. So the 5 amp is kind of a nice little sweet spot. The 10 amp obviously charges quite a bit faster. It's a little more expensive though. So anyway, I use these a lot just because they're functional. They're versatile. Everyone needs a battery charger. I feel like if you have a dead battery, and you can use the jump starter like I showed earlier, obviously, but if you just need to tend it, or you just want to, well, I don't need to jump start it and then run the vehicle to keep it charged, just throw it on the battery tender. And then they'll come with alligator clips that plug in. The only thing I don't like is this is a proprietary plug. It's not like an SAE or something a little more universal. So I've just basically invested in the X Connect, and they have the ring terminals that you put, like I have set up on the vehicles that I just tend, and then they have alligator clips for charging other stuff. I forgot to show it earlier, but when we were talking about leaf blowers, this is actually, I think Milwaukee just came out with a little one of these as well. But before, this was the only one, the Ryobi. I'm not above Ryobi. Pretty much, most of my tools are DeWalt. I have some of the Milwaukee M12s, and then a few random Ryobi. But this thing's been great. And this is more like I'll use, I think Home Depot is the only place you can really get Ryobi tools. But when I have, like, I should have used it on here, but when I have some sawdust and I just want to blow it off real quick, that little guy, or just blow, it's a little more compact, obviously. So blowing off tighter to reach places, and then the trigger just clicks in. But blowers, yeah, super rad. Actually, while I'm here, this is another Perfect Bungee product. This is more of your standard bungee cord with 2 hooks on it, but it has these little slots in it, so you can basically shorten the bungee, because a lot of times you'll get a bungee and be like, it's not quite the right length. With this, you can hook on to these little holes that are throughout and kind of get a right length bungee. So I use that for some stuff. Still, this is I use this way more, this product, than I do this. But this is another bungee that's really nice. Then some recovery gear. Again, I'm not using this every day, but we're kind of talking about some vehicle stuff. I keep it in every vehicle, and I do use them from time to time. Now, I have so many vehicles, and I go through these, and I just tear them up. Like, I've used these to just drag stuff across my property. I have a shipping container over there. We use the big excavator and a couple of these to just drag it like 1,000 feet across my property. So actually, I have probably used and abused this brand. I have no affiliation. I buy these all full price off of Amazon. And I just use and abuse these because I feel better than using, like a Factor 55 or a War, some expensive, really nice product. Granted, I could get those for free, and, they might send me a dozen of them. It doesn't make sense. I just kind of trash these. But this random off-brand, and this is the one, I've had good experience with this one. Like, I've used and abused this one. Maybe they're all the same, all these Amazon ones, but this is the one I've used quite a bit. And, I like orange, obviously, and has a little bit of stretch to it. So it's like a snatch strap rather than a toe strap. And that's what you want for recovery. Anyway, I keep one of these because they're pretty cheap compared to the real name brand ones. And I keep one of these in every vehicle. And then there are some nicer ones, like Agency 6 actually has some really nice ones that I do keep in my more off-roady vehicles. But I just pulled this one out of the side-by-side because I keep it in there. Soft shackles. These are really nice to have and pretty cheap. All right, well, as you guys probably know, I could talk all day about gear, and I'd probably like to, and a lot of you guys might like to watch that. But I feel like around a 30-minute video is probably appropriate for this one. If you enjoyed it, show me you enjoyed it by sharing it and commenting it and liking it. And if it does well, I'll do more videos like this, just kind of casual around the property stuff I like getting into. I have talked about homesteading videos and whatnot in the past, and maybe I'll outline some of the projects that I got going on. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna build. I built this chicken tractor over here, over there, but I'm building like their main chicken coop run over here and some other miscellaneous. I'm doing a lot of like homesteading stuff. I recently gonna try with the fruit trees again. Actually just planted a bunch of blueberry. I love blueberries, so I planted a bunch of blueberry bushes. We got the raised garden beds over here. Actually, we got the stock tank pool as well. We're just living that whole homestead life. Maybe we'll get goats and cows next year. That's kind of the tentative plan to maybe do that. But anyway, if you enjoy these kind of videos or any kind of videos, I ask this a lot in videos. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll try to do it. I'll always do videos that I want to do, but if there's some recurring request for something, I'll definitely work those into the rotation. So, yeah. Appreciate you guys watching. Like I said earlier, I really do appreciate you guys just taking the extra second, clicking those links down below and shopping through my links, because as often as possible, I try to make those, they're not always affiliates, but as often as possible, I try to make those affiliates so I can get like a little commission. Costs you guys no extra. I actually have coupon codes that save you guys money that I always put down there as well. So yeah, appreciate the support, and well, until next time, take care.